Alright guys, we are ready to go to Ridge Racer 5. We are going to see the Grand Prix Easy category by Thrasher. But of course first, we are going to take a look at the intro video.
You're tuned to 76.5 on your FM dial. This is RIDGE FM, broadcasting live from Ridge City. This is for all you race fans out there. Here are the Boom Boom satellites coming straight at you with some wicked beats. Check it out now.
And there we are guys, Ridge Racer 5, Grand Prix Easy by Thrasher. Yeah, it's I think a PlayStation 2 game, right, Thrasher?
Yes sir, it is.
And let's introduce yourself and then we will start this category.
I am Thrasher DBS. I run a whole host of different speed games and whatnot, mainly racing games. The Ridge Racer series is not one that I've really spent a lot of time with, and considering most of my wheelhouse is usually Gran Turismo, Need for Speed, it's quite a bit for me to relearn how to drive when it comes to Ridge Racer. But this is the first Ridge Racer game I've ever beat. Anyways, I'm just going to kind of get through the initial stuff.
Oh yeah.
We're not on hard. We're not going to go on hard. I'm not that much of a gamer.
Yeah,
there we go.
So we will not start a timer yet. We will do that when you are jumping in, right?
So as soon as I hit the confirm on Basis GP, which is the first one.
All right. So yeah, we will have a small delay because we are capturing your Twitch stream. I think it's like 2 seconds or something. So it should not be too hard to follow everything.
Yep. And there we go. And there we go. Quickly type in the name.
Ridge Racer 30th Annie. Or Anne.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so here we are starting for the initial Grand Prix. Ooh, there's a little bit of a... Okay. So, tell you what. You go ahead and do a countdown. And when you say go, I'll start my... Because I have my own set of splits, too.
Oh, yeah.
Is when you can start the timer also.
Yeah.
So I'm hovering over Basis GP. Once I hit X on here, it's time we go.
Alright. Well, I will do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, off we go. Okay, here we start with Basis GP. So basically, you get a selection of 6 different cars. We're going to be using the Rivelta Solare through all of this. Through this entire thing. So you get the car that you pick for the Basis GP after you win it. So that's going to be the only car I'm going to have access to in the later GPs. I'm going to be unlocking a more race-ready version of it in the next GP. And you can only enter that with whatever car you won in Basis GP. So this is going to be a 17 race run. So I have 4 different championships, each 4 races apiece. And then the final race is very much kind of a shooting hoops type scenario where you're on an oval and you're, a lot of laps, a lot of cars, just finish first at the end of that one race, and you're done. Okay, so Ridge Racer 5 is pretty much how I imagine the original Ridge Racer game would have been like if it was released in 2000. It does a lot to kind of, harken back to the original game as well. Just, more modernized. So, the car I'm driving right now, the Rivelta Solare, is very much implied to be the same car that RT Yellow Sovolo, Blue Sovolo, Xevious Red, and Xevious Green was in the original game. And the Kamada Fiero, or Fiera, it's gone by many different, different spellings and whatnot over the installments, but that's the car that FA Racing and RT Ryukyu is based off as well. So, this is currently the fastest of the drift vehicles. Optimally, most runs use the Himmel EO, which is the fastest grip car. It very heavily resembles a Porsche 911, except, lawyer-friendly.
Yep.
Yep. So, but just because I want to use the car I want to use, we're going with this not Ferrari Testarossa, which you're going to be seeing a lot of in this run and also in the run after this one as well. Because the Ridge Racer Revolution run will be done on my beloved Xevious Red. So, this first track, you might have noticed the very beginning heavily resembles the start of the beginner track from Ridge Racer 1, except it takes another kind of different turn through the tunnel onto a different kind of way. So, this game has 7 different tracks in it. 6 of them have a short version and a long version of each other. This one is Parktown, which is the shortest track in the game. So it's just this nice little, super quick, tight loop. And I forgot to split there. Okay. Outer Pass is the other variant of the short tracks. The third variant of the short tracks is Sunny Beach, which is the beginner GP or beginner race from the original game. And it's gone by several different names throughout the years, like Seaside Route 765, etc. So yeah, Outer Pass here goes completely out of the way of a lot of where the original game went. It starts underneath the overpass where the first track started, and you're just kind of taking more of a coastal kind of drive throughout Ridge City here. Pardon my maybe not quite so clean driving. It's still a little tricky to kind of get through this game and get through the traffic without much incident. Not only that, this is a drift car, but out of all the cars, it is the most understeery when it's not drifting. So that's unfortunately going to be a little bit of an issue in a lot of different corners through this game. But quick and easy, we're to the front of the pack. So here we're kind of getting close to where... whoopsies. Okay, so what happened there? I usually let off the accelerator to initiate a drift, but for whatever reason it didn't initiate a drift on that one. So just gonna quickly catch back to the Rivelta Mercurio up here. You might recognize that one, I'm not sure. It's the cover car for this game, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of the mid-level grip car. So, there's 6 cars in this game that you're gonna see in the main Grand Prix. So there's the Kamada Fiero, which is, the baseline drift car. The Danver Toreador, which is the mid-level drift car. It resembles like a weird mishmash between a SN95 Ford Mustang and a S15 Nissan Silvia. There's the Rivelta Solare, which I'm currently driving. There's the Kamada Fortune, which heavily resembles an... goodness, it's that dang corner again. Kamada Fortune, which heavily resembles a EG Honda Civic. The Rivelta Mercurio, which it's the cover car. It kind of looks like if a Ferrari 360 had pop-up headlights. And then the Himalaya, which is the aforementioned, it's not actually a Porsche 911, but it looks like a Porsche 911 car. Yep, so...
So how does drifting exactly work? Is it just the same like the previous games?
It is... It feels like a little bit more finely tuned version of how it behaves in R4, honestly. It feels a little bit more intuitive to initiate and to get out of.
Is it based on just going straight again, going out of a drift?
Yes. Whereas you're probably going to see in my Revolution run that getting out of drifts is going to look significantly more awkward. Whereas this, it feels a lot more fine-tuned to the point where it feels seamless.
Yeah.
So, just gonna tap the brakes there to make sure I don't smack that outside wall again. Okay, so... and... cross the line. Currently am 7 seconds ahead of PB right now.
Nice.
So, currently mashing start. Plays like a proper racing game when you're not drifting the mappy feels. Yeah. Thanks for the good luck, Dragamuffin. Appreciate it. Graphics do resemble GT3 a bit. I mean, it came out like about a year earlier. It definitely has that feel of like, oh wow, it's a brand new PS2 game, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So we are playing on easy, right? Easy difficulty.
Yes, we are currently playing on easy, so essentially all that means for us is the computer players are just, you know, easier to deal with. In the higher difficulties, all these different GPs or like tournaments that I'm playing have completely different names, which sets them apart. Not entirely sure if there's a difference in tracks or whatnot. In hard mode specifically, there's an extra GP tacked on to the end of the campaign, which ironically makes it longer than the other ones, even though hypothetically you should be pretty much going faster. So this track is called Above the City. So if you remember Parktown, which was the first race I did, this is the longer variant of it. So, and not to mention, this is also my favorite track in the game too. It just feels very, very smooth for me. Aside from like one tiny little section, but yeah, you're going on the upper highways of, you know, upper highways of the city, like the name implies. So,
yeah, it's a pretty quick track.
Yep. It also doesn't overstay its welcome, unlike the track that's coming directly after this one. And I know for a fact that the next track, I have to deal with that track 3 times in this 17 race run. Which I'm not necessarily looking forward to, but, you know, just kind of get it done and over with.
So you have to brake for a drift, right? You cannot just drop the accelerator for a bit and then go on it again. Or
no,
something.
actually, you can. So
okay.
this next hairpin that I'm about to take is going to be a deceleration. So, as you noticed, the brake lights didn't light up, and that drift was initiated completely by me just taking my, you know, hypothetical foot off the accelerator.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep. And then this corner baffled me for the longest time because of how long it is, but just one long drift Sure, it kind of looks like it's a little slow, but it gets me through. It doesn't smack me in any walls. We're fine.
That's the most important.
Yep.
Don't crash in a wall.
Yep, there's probably still going to be plenty of that, especially given how the AI behaves. Sometimes they're a little brain dead, shall we say. But I briefly thought we were on Parktown for a second there. Sometimes the game kind of, or my own, dang it. Okay. So that I was trying to kind of do a decel drift. Kind of came out, but hit the gas again at the wrong time, and I straightened out, and that's, bad.
Yeah, is it that your line is not sideways enough that you get out of the drift again? Is that the main reason?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So that's also in that one little section that I'm not super comfortable with still, even with how much practice I put in. But, we do what we can.
Well, we're almost done with the third already.
Yep, almost done with the third race. Yep. So another obstacle that's going to rear its head in future races is lapped cars, pretty much. That's not going to be fun to deal with, because traffic in general is just awkward to get around in this game. Okay. Bayside Line, the bane of my existence. This is hands down the longest track in the game. It's the longer version of Outer Pass, which was the second race we did. And it briefly strays on to Ridge Racer 1's advanced track, essentially. And then goes off into its own little weird highway section that's very twisty and very awkward to navigate in.
Oh yeah, I can see
this
it
particular
game
game
on the map there.
Yeah. So another thing of note, for the most part, most of the Grand Prix function off of the same kind of logic as R4 does, where it's a tournament, but not really, because it's just like, hey, just place this high to pass, that kind of thing. So for the most part, it's first race you have to get at least fourth, second race you gotta get at least third, and so on until you have to win the final race. The exception to this is going to be the third cup, which is called Blast GP, where you have to be in first in every single race, and you also have a time limit. So you have to keep crossing checkpoints within the time limit to stay in the race. So even if you did, if you were in first, if you were too slow, sorry, you're out.
Interesting.
So, yep. Kind of makes me wonder, so what's the point? But, they just wanted to shake things up a little bit. For all intents and purposes, Heroic GP, which is the one after this, is essentially going to be the exact same type of rule set as Basis GP, except I'm in a better car. The racing version of this car. The fourth cup, Night GP. Hold on, gotta concentrate for this section, because this is very awkward to navigate with these physics also. Night GP is a 4-race series, except all the tracks are in reverse, which kind of shakes things up a little bit in terms of figuring out what's the proper, way to navigate them all. Yeah. So, since I've got no traffic here, I'm just going to show off that you can clearly take this whole section completely flat out. Where it looks kind of intimidating to take flat out, but you can totally do it.
Yeah, it looks not too hard.
Yep, but if you got a whole bunch of cars in the way, that's when it gets sticky. But yeah, very clearly the longest track in the run, as you can tell by the fact that my first lap was over 2 minutes. Whereas a lot of them tend to be like minute, maybe minute and a half. So this is the section that's part of the advanced course from the original game. And then here's where it splits off into its own thing. So the track design in this like really succeeds in making Ridge City feel like an actual city. Like there's a whole bunch of like familiar pathways that lead into different new pathways, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So, as I've said, feels like a much expanded version of the 1993 original.
And if you would play this on the harder difficulty, is it also hard to win?
Yes. The computer drivers are significantly faster.
Yeah, but of course
I
we
think
are doing speedrun, so we are not going to do that.
Yeah, so the medium difficulty I've tried a little bit and kind of had a hard time kind of keeping up, at least that's what I remember. But, you know, maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll venture on to the maybe not quite as scrub-like difficulties.
Okay, I am away for 1 minute, so I will be right back.
Understood. Oh, this very familiar chicane. Going around the right corner. Ooh. This is always an awkward section to tackle, honestly. Because so many turnoffs and everything. And then there's this long kind of continuous corner, a lot like the Wonder Hill one. That just feels very awkward with this with these physics, but what can you do? This race features like 3 times, so.
And I'm back. I have to do something real quick.
Yep. Alright, so we are just about done with Basis GP. Okay, so my splits tell me I am currently 13 seconds ahead.
Ooh, that sounds great.
Yep, which is on where pace? Just make sure I'm okay. I am comparing to personal best. Okay. Last time my splits fooled me on that.
Oh yeah, I know.
On
what
one
you
of my
mean.
practice runs previously, because it's just like, yeah. Okay, Grand Prix, Extra, Hero GP. Okay. So same thing again, except we're in a much more souped up Rivelta Solare. Okay. Outer pass again. So we're going to be seeing 3 tracks we've already seen before, and then the final race of this particular GP is going to be literally the OG beginner course from Ridge Racer 1.
Yay, nostalgia!
Yay, nostalgia!
3, 2, 1, go!
Hopefully these songs are not copyrighted.
Well, unfortunately, 2 of them are.
Well.
This game has soundtracks from Boom Boom Satellites, which are electronic act in Japan, and then Mike Van Dyke does a few of his own kind of things too. The only two songs that get copyrighted in my VODs are Boom Boom Satellites, Fogbound, which unfortunately is, in the intro and everything, and then Burnout by Mike Van Dyke.
Oh yeah.
So,
well,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. It doesn't matter for the stream, but for the VOD it might go wrong. But we will see.
I don't think it'll get taken down, if I'm honest. I did kind of think of maybe kind of like toning down the music a little bit, but even then it's just kind of like, might as well just keep it on. The other thing I was thinking of toning down is the announcer also, because he kinda won't shut up. Like, he comments on every single little thing, and then, like, does these weird kind of intermittent bits where it's just like, you can be a Ridge City racer too! And in the most, like, cheesiest comical voice, I'm just sat there like, please shut up, you have said this 5 times to me already. Yeah. Nowhere near as charming as... Yeah, nowhere near as charming as the announcer from the earlier games.
What is a Ridge Racer without an annoying announcer? Well, they're not always annoying, Torjuice.
Yeah.
My grandma drives faster than you.
Yeah. I'll have to find it again in one of the channels, but you ever see like the manly handshake meme where it's like two really buff, muscled arms like handshaking each other? I remember like posting one that said like one of the arms said, "I can walk faster than that. Get going," and my grandma drives faster than that. Like, and they're both like together. And the thing they're linking over is being like 0.1 second slower than world record.
I think I'm gonna give this game a go as well at some point.
Yep. It's definitely worth it. It's, I will say my time with R4 was probably more fun. But, this is definitely not something to sneeze at. Like I've said before, this is the first Ridge Racer game I've ever beaten. This is also the first Ridge Racer game I ever owned. All my experience beforehand was literally just a demo of Ridge Racer Revolution. That was like one lap of the beginner course, and that was it. Yep. Well, looks like I've lost a bit of time on this particular split. I am nearly 7 seconds ahead of PB instead of the 13 I was before.
Well, there we go.
Yep. Alright, above the city, the goated track.
I actually never played this before, so I will have a lot of fun with a new game.
3, 2,
Yep.
1, go!
Is there some sort of star trick that you need to have your revs at a certain amount to go faster, or?
In general, you kind of just want to make sure you're not buzzing redline, otherwise there's going to be a lot of wheel spin.
Oh yeah.
But as for actual like gear tricks or whatnot like there are in R4, I'm not entirely sure.
Get out of the way, cars.
Yep.
Hey, there's the helicopter.
Yep.
Very iconic.
Yep. Oop. That was a weird... So...
Well, you didn't crash. Oh, well, you just touched it, actually. When I said that.
Yep.
That's an interesting amount of corners there.
Yeah, it's an awkward part of this track, but I still like it. Now, unfortunately, we have a whole bunch of moving chicanes in our way. Oh, heaven's sakes. This looks like Edge of the Earth. So they do have, like, multiple different, like, times of day. Okay. go around the car, don't smack into the rear of it. There's plenty of options for like different times of day for a handful of the tracks. Now, granted, they don't all have like the same options, but for the most part, there's a day, there's a night, and there's an evening version. Nothing really changes, just the atmosphere. And the night races just look amazing. Really drives home like the Tokyo highway racing type of beat it kind of has.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can be the Rich City Racer too.
You can be the Rich City Racer too.
Yeah.
There it was.
Yep. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. So I don't know if anyone kind of notices, like, in a lot of the buildings up above me, but there's a handful of, as Ridge Racer tends to do, references to other Namco stuff. So that billboard that's displaying what song is playing has Pac-Man waka-waka-ing back and forth, but like he's a speaker. And then there's a handful of references to like other games from Namco. One of the most prominent ones that stick out in my mind is there's like a little blue kind of teal advertisement on some of these buildings that says General Resource, and it's referencing Ace Combat 3, one of the main factions in that game. So there's actually a lot of Ace Combat 3 references in this particular game from the billboards, and when you go to the high score screens, a lot of the stock names are the names of characters from that game.
Yeah, they do that in multiple games, right?
Yep, they did. Yeah.
References.
Yep. And... Alright, that's down to 6.5 seconds ahead. Starting from R4, the lighting really improved. Ridge Racer Evolution has a nice T2 Heihachi billboard district. Yep, absolutely. And we will be seeing that in over an hour, but soon enough.
Yeah, it's a long category. How is your splits going?
I am currently 6.5 seconds ahead of PB.
Alright.
But it's been slowly, my lead has slowly been eroding down because in PB my early game was terrible. Like I kept smacking into anything and everyone. But late game wound up being very strong and compensating well for it, which is going to be kind of touchy for me pace-wise, but we're just here for a decent time, not necessarily here for, oh, I got a PB or I got a world record, you know, that kind of thing.
I think when you are only having a couple of runs in, it's just the most important thing is to just not crash against other cars and the walls, and you will just easily get a PB.
Well, easier said than done, I will say.
Yeah, that's really hard to pull off.
Yep.
That's the first thing I think you want to try. And then when you have completed that, you're going to try to optimize the drifts and the lines and that kind of things.
Yep. Okay. So now that we're ahead of the moving chicanes, now it's just time to cruise through the rest of this track that I'm not super fond of. But this is the second time out of 3 that we see this track, so... Oop. Oop. And that little not Wonder Hill loop is kind of awkward with this particular game. Oh, and that's a little too far, overcorrecting on the left.
So, is it also possible to gain speed when you are drifting? Like, when you're drifting super tiny or something? Or do you always lose speed when you drift?
In general, like, you do kind of just lose speed, but it's just a matter of, like, oh, eesh, that's gonna hurt. You're about to see it.
Oh, yeah. Ouch.
Much like real racing cars, you never want to hook a tire or two in the dirt. But yeah, no, you just generally want to drift when you have to, kind of thing. At least when you're driving the first 3 cars. The second set of 3 cars, the grip ones, kind of have a different kind of strategy associated with them, I imagine, since, you know, drifting's not really their thing, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you are in the first games, if you drift in a certain way, you're gaining huge amounts of speed out of nowhere.
Right.
This looks so weird.
Yep, it's a lot more graceful than the earlier games, I will say, but it still feels kind of awkward. And this runoff area kind of somehow counts as dirt still.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's dusty, but...
It's dusty, no one drives there.
Right, of course. I mean, makes sense. But yeah, that little faux pas at the beginning of this lap, if I was on world record pace before, I'm pretty sure I'm not on it now. But, you know, the run is still young. I've still got under an hour to see what else I can do. Oh, I will say, sometimes the understeer on this thing feels pernicious as heck.
So you're, are you gonna drive in another car later as well when you unlock something, or?
Nope.
No,
this is pretty much
it.
the car. This is pretty much the car you're going to be looking at for the rest of this run.
Yeah.
The only thing kind of like getting a new car is for the Throne GP, which is the final race of the run. You're given what's called an oval engine, which is literally just like, as you can probably imagine, you know, something that's tuned for top speed.
Yeah.
And also your handling goes to the pits. But on an airport oval, I mean, it's not like you need to make very, you know, tight corners or anything.
I like that
Just
they kept
kind of
it in the oval races, just like in Ridge Racer Type 4 and the Rage Racer.
Yep. It's kind of structured like a tri-oval, like, say, the Daytona Super Speedway type oval, where it kind of tapers off at a point. But, yeah. And that is Bayside Line done, and I am back to being 8 seconds ahead of BB, which is... how?
Sometimes it's easier than you think to do a PB.
And sometimes, you know, it's a matter of not looking the gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, but now we are currently on to Sunny Beach, which is the original track.
3, 2, 1.
So, all the Ridge Racer 1 stands in chat, you're definitely gonna... This is gonna be beat for beat what you're used to.
3 laps to go.
Craigasm.
Yep. Ugh. Now getting around the traffic, still gonna be awkward like game 2. Misjudged where he was gonna be there.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. winner of this Grand Prix will be determined in this final race. So who's gonna have the last lap? Well, we'll
Nope.
find out the answer to this question in a few
Good
minutes.
heavens. Everyone's just parking right in the middle of... Whoa, God. Everyone's just parking right in the middle of my line. There's a magnet attached to the front of my car that is guided specifically to every single car's front rear bumper, I swear. Good heavens.
Do you think you lost a bit of time with those bumps? Or does it always happen?
It's a heads or tails kind of dealio. I'm not entirely sure which tracks specifically went well versus which ones didn't. I just remember that my early game was pretty nasty. And we're kind of past that at this point. Oh!
Many drivers are competing in various races throughout Ridge City. Whether they're seasoned pros or rookies, their goal is the same, is to win the race. Win or lose, they all deserve our support.
Well, music-wise, a lot of the sound team from Ridge Racer Type 4 and Rage Racer kind of come back for this. There also features a couple of remixes of older themes. So there's Rare Hero 2000, which is, from original Ridge Racer, just, remixed. And then Grip Millennium, which is from Ridge Racer Revolution. I don't know if we're going to be hearing those, but because music tracks kind of unlock as you play through the game.
Oh,
I forget
really?
exactly what. Yeah, I forget exactly what milestones you have to hit, but yeah, that's just how it be.
Interesting.
Yep,
That you have to unlock them.
yep. I feel like it might be tied to mileage, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah.
It's the final stretch.
Alright, that is 9.5 seconds out of PB out of Heroic GP.
What an incredible
So, we're doing pretty good here. And we've won. Don't want to save.
congratulations.
You won the Heroic Grand Prix.
Yep. Mashing X.
Now we're
Mashing
going
start
to
and
the...
X.
Okay.
We're going to Blast GP. An extra
Grand Prix.
Blast GP. So, this is described as a sudden death tournament. So, as I said before a few races back, this one is all about... This is characterized by two things. You have to finish first in every single race, and you have a timer counting down. And you have to make it past each checkpoint before the timer hits 0.
The race is about 3, 2, 1.
I feel like there's a couple of times where that gets maybe a little toe-curlingly close, but
Cars are streaming past the starting line.
shouldn't be too much of an issue, honestly, all things considered. And we're going to start with the last time we're going to see Bayside Live.
Oh, already.
Yep. It starts out with this one, and then the other 3 tracks are significantly shorter. Oh! Alright, so because of that, I'm probably going to have to take that one with the brakes. Alright. The little seaside chicane. Oh, Lord.
Sometimes you just can't go around them.
Yep. Ah! Yeesh. That hurt. Oh. And I got a little bump there.
Oh, and the announcer said, what the?
Yep. Of course, that's probably because of the Himmel that just hit me from behind and actually helped me out there a bit. Getting me back up to speed very quickly. Because, I mean, the AI aren't immune to, like, wait a minute, there's a car in the way.
Is there also a reason why you're playing on automatic gear and not manual? Is there no reason to go manual in this game?
Well, for the same reasons I do automatic and R4, it's just what I'm used to, and yeah. It's unfortunate, but, you know. I will make up for it in Revolution, though, because that one I actually do drive with manual. Because I've been trained by the best, shall we say. Now, I don't know how readily I'll be able to adhere to the great Alzeri's teachings, but at the very least, he's the one who taught me how to run Revolution properly.
Yeah, in some games it's really useful to go manual, to go fast, and other games maybe not so much. Maybe this game is not that much faster when you go manual.
I feel like a future world record holder, maybe in chat, or, you know, someone else who will run this game in the future will probably be able to give you a more definitive answer on that.
Yeah. I'm very curious now.
Yeah. I mean, it could be you. It definitely
yeah, well,
could be
maybe
you.
I will actually tackle this game and see what the difference is between manual and automatic.
I will cherish my time on the board while I still have it.
Don't forget to check them all out and enjoy.
But yeah, definitely. Alrighty. Notice there's a lot of messages in the chat, but somehow I don't think it's wise for me to read them right now.
Well, maybe on a part where you think you can read them.
Well, Bayside Line, that's a little bit of a stiff order. Imagine reading chat during Heaven and Hell.
Yeah. But we still do that though.
We still do. I think there's a run of mine on the boards that cost me like a second or two because I smacked into a wall because I looked at chat the wrong time, but, you know. The 149's pretty good on this track for me, so that's at least good. And hang on to the right. Beautiful. Love that.
That was a good line.
Yep. Alright. It's the last lap around Bayside Line. Woohoo! Pass him on the outside. Never read chat during brightest night or hell. Yeah, for sure. Alright. But yeah, by this point, the whole sudden death aspect is kind of doesn't really mean a whole lot. Because I've got plenty of time on the timer, and I'm well and above in the lead. So
yeah.
So no real frills here. Only thing I get to be excited about is this is the last time I have to drive Bayside Line. I mean, it is interesting what they did with it, but it overstays its welcome a little bit. And that left me a lot of time. I am currently 5 seconds ahead of PB on this one, so that race lost me about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep, and there were, understandable too, there were some pretty hefty kind of oopsies in there.
Okay, we're already 46 minutes underway already. That goes quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Nostalgia
Yep, the nostalgia track.
3 laps to go.
Yeesh. Well, since I'm not carrying enough speed, I gotta initiate that one with the brakes. Oh. Feels very awkward to be passing on the outside for a handful of these cars.
That was crazy.
I just got pitted by that blue Solare. Just a quick little love tap on the quarter panel there.
We've got the perfect weather conditions for a Grand Prix today.
Does the announcer always say that we have perfect weather conditions?
Yep. I mean, he's not wrong, it never rains.
Yeah. It's always nice weather in Ridge Racer City.
It's always sunny in Ridge City. If only I could mimic the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia theme just then.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. The atmosphere is really nice in the evening and night races, I will say.
So, do you want to get in on the racing action? Then put your racing team together and enter the race. You can be the racer too.
So how about this weather? Yeah, the downside for this run versus a lot of the other games in the series is it goes on for significantly longer than, say, R4's run goes for, and especially like Ridge Racer 1 and Revolution
Yeah.
as well, where the run's over in the matter of like less than 15 minutes.
It's a big difference.
Yep, but it's PS2, so everything's got to be bigger, more packed with content, and, you know,
Yeah.
more lengthy to justify the costs.
More room for more content.
Yep. The idea of, like, tackling very late game, or, you know, late in this series Ridge Racer games is daunting because of how long they are. Which is rich coming from me, who speedruns, like, Gran Turismo and such, but, you know.
The finish line is just up ahead. It's the final
And...
stretch.
Alright, that is 5 seconds even ahead of EB, so I lost 0.3 seconds on that one.
Tiny bit lost.
Tiny bit. Alright, we're back to Parktown, which was the very first race of the run. The little brother to Above the City. And then after this one is Greenfield, which is the advanced track from the first Ridge Racer game.
2, 1, go! And they're off. The cars are streaming.
Out of my way. Oh my goodness! He pulled directly in front of me.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
What a jerk! What a jerk. Oh, nuts. I really don't like passing on corners, if you couldn't tell.
That car looks like a Toyota Supra as well.
Oh,
The grey car that's now second.
Oh, the Porsche.
When you look at the back a bit.
Himmel. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say Porsche
I mean,
in this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ridge Racer already does a very interesting kind of job of mishmashing, like, cars together that are you wouldn't think of being anywhere near each other in terms of, you know, being like each other. Because, I mean, with a game like Grand Theft Auto, the cars that they combine with each other are still cars that are tangentially associated with each other. So they might, take bits from, a Chevrolet Camaro and slap it on what would otherwise be a Dodge Challenger and call it its own car. But here, it'll take completely separate cars, like the aforementioned Danver Toreador, which is half Mustang, half Nissan Silvia, and then, as you noted there with the Himalaya, definitely looks like a Porsche 911 with some Supra bits tacked onto it.
Yeah. Are there also some special cars unlockable later in this game? That are
there
super fast?
there definitely are, and they're kind of crowded around. Like each of them specialize in a specific performance attribute. Hold on 1 second. And I'm down to 4.2 seconds ahead. So yeah, late game here has been pretty well for me in BB on this one. So with this is no longer Wur pace, but this is still BB pace. Fun fact: only Paris is playing during the pause, except other tracks, which stops. Interesting. I actually did not notice that. Of course, then again, I don't spend a lot of this game paused, unfortunately, especially considering it's within speedruns. But yeah, there are 4 extra cars. Well, 5. There's a Pac-Man themed car, but that's only, after you've beaten everything in hard mode, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's... God, if I can remember these off the top of my head. The Danver Spectra, which looks like a... You know those American cars from the 1950s that are really huge and have gigantic fins?
Yeah.
It looks like a cartoonishly gigantic version of that, and its main attribute is acceleration. Then there's the Soldat... I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. Anyways, it heavily resembles a Fiat 500. Its main trait is turning. So it's this really tiny little microcar with, quick acceleration and just super, glued in corners.
Yeah.
And then there's the Rivelta Crenale and the Kamada Angelus, which are literally the Devil car and Angel car from the earlier Ridge Racer games.
I think that the small car is also in Ridge Racer 4, right? That small 1-gear car that has huge grip.
I think so.
Something comparable.
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, you race each of them to kind of, get their car, and then at the very end, there's also a kind of a Grand Prix that's only special cars. You're forced to use one specific car for that one. I don't remember which one, but yeah, it's another kind of GP where you're just up against every one of the extra cars. Another thing that happens, or another event in career mode is... Oh, goodness. Smacking all these walls here. Another event in career mode is called 99 Trial. And what it literally is just 99 laps of Sunny Beach. So, it's a Ridge Racer endurance race.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those things that you just kind of, queue up, a playlist on Spotify or, a podcast or just videos on YouTube to just kind of casually glance over at, while you're driving. To just kind of break up the monotony. Because, enough laps of these tracks and it's just kind of okay.
Yeah. It could
At
get
least
pretty
it was
boring at some point.
Yep. at the very least, it's an interesting track, like, you know, at least an enjoyable track like Sunny Beach, as opposed to, like, 99 laps of Bayside Line, which would be my personal hell. But, you know. Don't got much choice there.
Almost made it.
Yeah. It's not like there's a whole lot I could have done there, because, like, he was parked directly in my driving line, and it's like, I understeer too much to do anything about this. Yeesh. Yeah, with all those dings, I should be probably losing time here. Never mind, I got the yeehaw from my splits, which means it's a gold.
So
I'm currently 5 seconds ahead again, so I'm drawing even with Whir again. Okay, no on that. Alright, so this cup is the Night GP. So the gimmick with this one is
Grand Prix.
all 4 of these tracks are in reverse, which makes things interesting so far as navigating. Okay, so that one section I keep having trouble with on Above the City, that's about to get a lot worse, because that's even trickier to tackle going backwards.
curious how this goes.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1, go! And they're off. The cars are screaming past the starting line. 3 laps to go.
Pass them on the outside. Pass you on the outside. Okay. Up we go. Yeah, not a lot I could have done about that one.
Looks like someone got too close for a Concord. Now it's wicked.
Yeesh. Eesh. Yeah, this is awkward. This is very awkward indeed. Okay, now that we're on a straight, we're gonna pass this guy.
We've got the perfect weather conditions for a Grand Prix today. Come on, come on! That was wicked.
Pass the Porsche on the outside. Something that will also kind of trip you up a little bit on some of these tracks. So, for Above the City, Parktown, Sunny Beach, and Greenfield, the start-finish line is in a completely different spot from where it normally is. So, for Sunny Beach and Greenfield, which are the original tracks, the start-finish line is actually on the Bayside chicane instead of the, you know, road leading into the big tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So, complete opposite end of the track. Yeesh, there's no easy way to take that. Now, granted, Arms or somebody else would probably be looking at this run and going, yeah, there's an easier way to take that. But I'm not that deep in. So, in practicing for this run, when I submitted to this marathon with this run, the PB I had was the first time I had picked this game up in a literal decade. So, I had not played it since 2011 or so. And I did a run in, like, can't remember if it was late 2021 or early 2022. But cold turkey, no practice, that was the run I was running against. So in preparation for this, I took my old completed file with, you know, everything in easy unlocked, and just did time trials on all the tracks and whatnot, and, you know, got practice on them. Right after that, immediate, like, PB by, like, 2 or so, like, almost 2 minutes.
Wow.
And yeah, so... And then it's just a matter of, like, hammering out, you know, where I was having trouble, that kind of thing, practicing a little bit more on the tracks I was having trouble with. Still having trouble with them, but, you know, not nearly as much as I was before. But, yeah, since then, I have had 2 PBs. So, yeah.
And this is going to be PB3.
Yep, and that is 12.8 seconds ahead now.
Ooh, that's a nice margin.
Yep, I do like that, but there's still enough time to have it all in tears, shall we say. But we're just gonna press on. Alright. As I said before, this is Sunny Beach, except reverse. So, as you can see, we're in the famous chicane, except backwards. That's where our start-finish is going to be.
This is also nostalgia.
Sort of. I mean, do they ever, in the original games, like, have you go backwards at all, or is it literally just the same way?
There is a race where you go backwards, where you have to defeat that quick car.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Devil's 13. Yeah.
And then it's just waiting for you to get overtaken, and then it overtakes you again.
Yep. And then it, like, feels sorry for you, and when it overtakes you once, it goes, okay, you're going to try that again. If you fail again, I'm not waiting up for you.
When I did that as a kid, I was like, what is this?
Yep. Well, you will be happy to know he makes a reappearance in this game, along with Ridge Racer Revolution's Angelus. But you're probably not going to see either of them in this run.
Sad.
And by probably, I mean definitely. Because we've got 4 races left in this run. Alright, and off the gas, back on it, there we go.
That's some wicked steering.
Yeah. Go flat out through here. Check that corner. Sideways. I'm still trying to remember which rally driver, like, had that quote. Like, fast drivers have dead bugs on the front of their car, and faster drivers have dead bugs on the sides of their car.
I have no idea who said that, but I like it.
Yeah. It's gotta be somebody from the Group B era back in the 80s. I just know it. It's gotta be. Don't know if that'd be a Walter Roll thing to say, though. Maybe it was one of the Finns.
Yeah, most likely.
Yep. Maybe like Ari Vatanen or something. Okay, don't get in my way, yellow car. There we go. Beautiful. Woo!
And how are the splits?
Do you want to take a guess?
Minus 15.
Minus 18.4.
Whoa.
I have no idea what happened in PB at Sunny Beach.
Shenanigans happened.
Shenanigans, but I'm not looking that gift horse in the mouth. Alright, here we are back at the Seaside Chicane, so this one's going to be Greenfield. This is the advanced track in reverse, or OG advanced track and reverse. And the fourth race in this particular GP is Parktown again, except, reverse.
Yeah.
So that one's going to wrap up pretty quickly. And then afterwards, it's 10 laps around an oval. Going pretty much McLaren F1 speeds. Alright, now this one kind of plays tricks on me a little bit, because this one's a left, and I keep thinking that there's a right there, but no, there's another left.
Yeah, it's
the road...
so different when you go the other way around, because you're also looking at the scenery and then think you are at a certain point.
Yep. And not only that, like, the road on that particular stretch of road is very zigzaggy also. Yeesh! Okay. One lap down, no traffic in sight. So if I bump into anything, that's literally just skill issue on my part. Okay. Very interesting roadway there. Like, I'm half imagining how, like, everyday traffic would be navigating that.
Yeah. Imagine that this would be real, this road for normal traffic with those 90 degrees corners.
Oh yeah, of
lines.
course. Oh yeah. Like, I read into the history of, like, how Ridge Racer came to be and how a lot of it's, like... I'll finish that thought when I pass this back marker here. Like, keep remembering how it was inspired by, like, toge racing in the mountains, or, the ridges of the mountains, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, the Tokyo Highway racing. And honestly, to me, strangely, this feels very disconnected to that for me, like the entire series kind of does. Because it's never, like, super narrow mountain passes. I mean, definitely there's also, like, Tokyo-like expressways, but Ridge Racer, like, succeeds in feeling like its own thing. Like, sure, there's inspirations taken from a whole different things, but it definitely feels like its own thing.
Yeah, for me as well.
Yep. And I will say, the drift physics that are ever present in these games definitely make me painfully aware of that, too.
Yeah, they have their own mechanics.
Yep. I say it all the time, but, like, I have to throw out literally everything I know about car control in whenever I pick up a Ridge Racer game.
Yeah, it's completely arcade.
Yep. And even then, like, arcade racers like Burnout or Need for Speed, I can still reasonably, like, pick up, because it still feels closer to how a car would actually drive versus here. Where when you initiate a drift, it feels very much like your car's, like, on rails going sideways.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hey, do you have
Like
a new
a-
song?
A new what?
A new song?
I'm not sure.
Thanks,
Yeah, I don't
announcer.
think
That
I
was
quite
crazy.
recognize this one. Yeah, I don't think I quite recognize this one. Or recognize this song. Well, or at least I can't put a name to it. I definitely recognize the beat of it, but Euphoria or Daredevil, it is definitely not.
Well, we'll find out the answer to this question in a few minutes.
Yeet.
That was wicked.
This game doesn't have quite as strong a soundtrack as some of the earlier entries, but it's still solid enough to be like, yeah, Ridge Racer music.
Yeah, I also more of a fan of the earlier game music.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to get in on the racing action? Then put your racing team
But I
together
guess
and
some
enter a
people
race.
like the later game music more because
Racer
they
2.
grew up with the late games or something. You know, and
Yeah.
it has a different feeling.
I feel like the genre's kind of bookended itself in the series because the first two were very much EDM
Yeah.
type rave music and such, and then it started going in a different direction with Rage, and then a completely different direction with R4, and then started looping back into EDM. Oh boy. Okay, and we're back down to 8 seconds ahead.
Oof.
Yep, it is what it is though. We're still on wear pace. We're still on PB pace.
Congratulations!
So now we have the shooting hoops of the run.
The last race.
Yep,
Okay. Grand Prix.
Throne GP.
Break away from the pack and claim first place.
And just tell me
Alright,
when
for-
I have to press the timer. Because
Absolutely.
I see it later.
Yeah, I will say it. Yeah, I'll say when time is. This race is going to be 10 laps long. So. And if all goes well, we're going to be ending before 1:19:47.
And they're off. The cars are streaming past the starting line. 10 laps to go.
This is the last Grand Prix model.
Yep, this is the final GP. So on this one, any kind of letting off the gas or like any hard braking is going to send me into a skid, but I also can't take this entire thing completely flat out, so I'm going to be imitating front-wheel drive racing drivers and gently tapping on, gently doing some left foot braking, as it were. Like,
Oh yeah.
foot planted on the gas pedal, but also tapping the brakes in select parts. Because I cannot possibly, like, overstate how much my already bad handling is kneecapped.
That was wicked. That was tight.
But yeah, 3 laps in, we're already in first.
Is the AI also rubber banding?
Not really, actually. what I'm going to be worrying about is literally just traffic like I have been the past 16 races.
Yeah.
Because eventually I'm going to start lapping people. Which, now that we're in the oval section, or Throne GP, the game introduces drafting as a thing. So now it, like, does actually make you speed up if you're driving behind someone. It's not something that's enforced in the other areas of the game.
Interesting.
Yep. So whenever I win a GP or whatever, and it, like, takes me through a summary or whatever, like, oh, here's the latest report for your team or whatever, like, all it's telling me is just kind of like how many miles I've done, what I just accomplished, that kind of thing, how many miles I've driven, and, oh, by the way, since you've done this, you've unlocked this kind of thing, or, yeah.
5 laps to go.
And then just general, like, here's how this thing works now, is just, like, one of the things it talks about is, how drafting works. And that's very late on. And then, sometimes just, piddly things like, oh, you can unlock the design shop now, or, you've managed to, you can now change your racing number at will, that kind of thing. But yeah.
4 more laps to go.
Yep. And we're just taking it nice and steady. No frills, nothing fancy, just nice, smooth, and consistent. And there we go.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's scary. That's never fun.
Oof.
That's what happens when you smack into a Honda Civic while you're going McLaren F1 speeds. I kind of figured that as soon as I said something like that was going to happen, but
Just like always.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, of course. It's like one of those things where it's just like, you can't be mad at that. Only a little bit, but still, that was entirely on me. But I mean, even then, that was like a second off of like what kind of average time I've been setting. So, I mean, it is what it is. Yep, the biggest threat is always the traffic, and just randomly doing that.
Oh no.
Yep, that's what happens when you just slam on the brakes a little bit too hard. Okay. 15. Okay, I've got 30 seconds left. Okay. Alright, last bank. Alright, and
Finish line is just up ahead.
time!
Final stretch.
That's
run.
that's a 119.44 on my end, which
I have
makes
45,
that,
so yeah.
which makes that we're by 3 seconds.
So you had a PB with 3 seconds.
I had this is 8.5 seconds faster than my PB, and it's 3 seconds faster than world record.
So we have a new world record.
Yep,
Nice.
at least in easy mode. Yep. Wahoo!
That was the goal, and you succeeded.
Yep.
Really nice. Having a
Yep.
world record in a marathon.
Mm-hmm. It's always a good feeling when you PB, at the very least. Which I've done that in marathons too, but still good to put on a good showing for this category in this game.
The city.
Well, do you have any last words you want to do shout outs or something else?
I mean, Do you want to take a part in the racing action? Well, I mean, you can be a Ridge City racer too.
Well, if that is everything you have to say.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the
Yep.
announcer gets very annoying at some point, that's true.
Yep.
Well, guys, that was Ridge Racer 5, but Thrasher is not going to leave us. He is also going to play Ridge Racer Revolution. We are going back to the PlayStation 1 games. But we are going to do this after a small intermission once again. It's scheduled to be at, let's see, what is it? In 20 minutes, but I think in 10 or 15 minutes we will start it. So stay tuned, guys, and I see you soon.
Mhm.